understanding the impact of coherence between virtual representations and possible interactions on embodiment. In VR, an affordance perspective, interactions are an essential element in virtual worlds, often carried out through virtual self-representations, called avatars. Avatars could impact user behavior in several ways, particularly through affordances suggested their appearance. The concept of affordance states, when affordances are taken advantage of, the user knows what to do just by looking. No picture, label, or instruction needed. In immersive virtual environments, virtual representations design may trigger the perception of false affordances that would go against users' expectations, where they would try to take advantage of them. Let's take the example of a ghost unable to cross virtual elements. It could go against users' expectations and therefore negatively impacts their experience. Building upon this research, we want to assess the impact of the coherence between user appearance and possible interactions on the sense of presence and embodiment. We are planning to immerse participants in an interactive VR scenario using a Meta Quest 3 headset. Participants will control virtual hands using the headset's hand tracking feature. We would like to offer 2 different virtual hand representations as well as 2 different interactions that would generate both congruent and incongruent configurations. The choice was made to investigate ghost-like and tangible representations that both afford natural interactions to the user. A ghost hand would afford going through objects, while a gloved one would afford colliding with the environment. Both representations could be considered as plausible in such an old manor environment. Before running this experiment, it appeared critical to assess the virtual hand representations that would suggest the expected affordance. A preliminary study was consequently carried out through an online questionnaire to assess the perceived affordances of 3 different virtual hands. The native Oculus hand shader, a gloved hand, and a ghost-like shader were considered. Online questionnaire results revealed that the default hand shader was ambiguous compared to the 2 other conditions. As expected, the ghost hands were perceived to be the most likely to go through the desk, while the gloved hands were perceived as the most likely to collide. Qualitative feedback were supporting these results. The forthcoming user study in virtual reality will help further assess the perception of interaction affordances. Such outcomes will be meant to inform researchers and designers on the potential impact of perceived affordances of virtual representations on presence, embodiment, and plausibility in VR.